Hello, my name is Jennifer Gentry, and this is a PowerPoint on some concepts about how to be a great leader. So, one of these concepts comes from Admiral William H. McRaven's commencement address at the University of Texas. And he talked about some ways to change the world, which I think directly correlate to being a great leader. So, the first way to change the world is to start off by making your bed. And the reason behind this is that if you started the day off by making your bed, then you started the day off by accomplishing a task. And this is a great way to start the day, and it will then also encourage you to continue accomplishing tasks throughout. The second way to change the world and to be a great leader is to find people to help you. So you can't change the world alone, and you can't be a great leader alone. As a leader, you need people there to help encourage you and to help you make decisions rather than trying to lead all on your own. Um, and if you want to change the world and be a great leader, then it is imperative that you are not afraid of failure. This point and the next one, to take risks and try things differently, sort of go together. In this world, we are going to fail, and we are going to fail often. And it'll be painful and discouraging, but we have to get over being perfect and we have to move forward, especially when taking risks and trying things differently. Because then we're definitely going to fail sometimes, but it is very important to get over this fear of failure and to continue moving forward and taking risks. Next, measure people based on their hearts and the size of their hearts rather than appearance, because overall, just nothing matters but for them to succeed. Also, you will have to deal with sharks in this world, and you cannot back down from them. A strong leader knows to stand their ground in the face of adversity. If you want to change the world and be a great leader, then you must be your very best during the darkest moments. These moments are when it is absolutely necessary to be calm and composed and bring all of your physical strength and inner strength to bear. This is something that a great leader knows and has practiced. The eighth way to change the world, as well as to be a great leader, is to start um, singing when you're up to your neck in the mud. Essentially, this means to give people hope when it seems like there is none. So Admiral McRaven and his training class had to spend 15 hours submerged in the mud and mud flats during his basic training, and his instructors told them that only 5 people had to leave, had to quit, and they could all get out of the mud. And it seemed hopeless. It seemed like few people might start giving up. But then one person began singing, and then slowly they all started to join in, and they were all singing together. And he said that this made the mud seem just a little bit warmer, and it made the wind seem a little bit calmer, and they all remained in the mud, and no one gave up. Um, so this just shows that hope, even from one person, is such a powerful thing, and it's such an important thing. And it's such an important aspect of being a great leader, is giving the people that you're leading hope. And finally, to change the world and to be the best leader that you can be, you can never ever ring the bell and give up. Great leaders know that there will be times when giving up sounds so good and it sounds like the easier path to take, and it is. But if you want to be a great leader, you simply can't. You must endure and continue leading. And you have to continue to give people hope and continue doing things differently and continue being your best in your darkest moments. And these were Admiral McRaven's 9 ways to change the world. Um, Another good point that he made that I really liked is that you can change people's lives much easier than you think, and you can lead people much easier than you think. And even small decisions can change someone's life, such as speaking up and singing when everyone's in the mud. That definitely changed some people's lives who were willing to give up. So these are some things that we need to keep in mind when trying to improve your leadership or trying to be a great leader. Another way to be a great leader is to be the kind of leader that you would want to follow. This comes with taking ownership and taking ownership of the good things that you do as well as your failures and the bad things that you do. So to maintain their integrity, true leaders must take responsibility for not only their successes but more importantly their failures. Um, When you take ownership of your failures, especially your failures, you will be more trusted and more respected by people that you are leading, rather than if you were to make excuses or blame someone else for your mistakes. Rather own up to your mistakes and take ownership of them. And when a team takes ownership of their problems, the problems get solved. And if you want to be a great leader, you need to take ownership of your life, and you need to lead yourself and your team and the people in your life. And people who are not great leaders, but rather bosses, tend to put the mistakes on other people, and then the problems don't get solved because they just get blamed. Other people just get blamed, and the problems just get thrown around. And so, to be a great leader, it is very important to take ownership of your failures and your successes, because this will lead to respect and trust from the people that you are leading. Another way to be a great leader is to learn to be uncomfortable. Bill Ekstrom talked about this concept and about the 4 growth rings. So he said that what makes you comfortable can ruin you, and what makes you uncomfortable will make you grow. He then talked about the 4 growth rings, which represent living environments, and he talked about how complexity is the only ring where growth can happen. Most people live in order, which is knowing what you do or what is happening will lead to a predictable outcome, and in predictability we find comfort. So order is a predictable environment, comfort is found. And growth can only happen in discomfort and outside of order. Um, because in order to grow, it must be unpredictable and change the usual order. So to be different and to be a great leader, we must challenge the norm and the usual. We must push people outside of their comfort zones. So this kind of goes back to Admiral McRaven's speech and one of the points that he made about trying to do things differently and taking risks. This is definitely something that would happen in discomfort and something that would be in the complexity growth ring. And a great leader knows that to help people that they are leading, they must push them into discomfort and to help them grow. And they know when to acknowledge discomfort and when to choose complexity over order. And something else that Bill actually talked about was the 3 ways to complexity. So number 1, it can be forced upon you, such as getting fired or someone else around you choosing complexity and it affecting you. Number 2, someone can help you get there, such as a parent, a teacher, a coach, or a boss, and a great leader. And so this is where a great leader fits in, and so a great leader will push the people that they're leading into complexity and help them grow, because people subconsciously choose comfort and order, and they sometimes need that push into complexity. And so a great leader will help the people that they're leading get there by pushing them into discomfort. And the 3rd way to complexity is to trigger it yourself. This is something that anyone can do, and this is something especially that great leaders will and should do. And a fantastic example that Bill gave for this was Claudette Colvin and Rosa Parks. They triggered complexity and discomfort when they refused to give up their seats on the bus for white people, and this then ultimately changed the world that we are living in today. So something that a great leader knows is that triggering complexity leads to developmental decisions and change. And they also know that we should fear order and not discomfort. And so this concept fits into being a great leader, because great leaders help the people that they are leading grow. And so to know this concept, they will know that to help the people they are leading grow, they must push them into complexity and discomfort in order for them to grow. So the Personality Plus profile is something that can be very helpful to a leader and the people that they are leading in any setting. A good leader knows their personality type, and by knowing your personality type from the Personality Plus profile, you learn a lot of strengths and weaknesses about yourself. So there are 4 personalities in the Personality Plus profile. There's popular sanguine, powerful choleric, peaceful phlegmatic, and perfect melancholy. And in this little box right here, there are some of the strengths and weaknesses of all of those. And so knowing your personality as well as the people that you are leading's personalities will lead to better communication. Um, so, for example, in the workplace, if the boss and all the employees, if they all knew each other's personality profiles, they would know their strengths and weaknesses, and so they would know how to better communicate with them. For example, a popular sanguine and a perfect melancholy could look at each other's strengths and weaknesses, and a popular sanguine could know that sometimes a perfect melancholy can be moody and insecure and sort of quiet, and so they can take that into account when they're talking to them, and maybe they won't overtalk or exaggerate and be too loud when they're talking to them. And so this is just something that a good leader could take into account and know about in order to help them lead the people that they're leading. Tribal leadership. So tribal leadership is a concept that 5 tribal stages and everyone fits into one. And the first stage is that life sucks. And the second stage is my life sucks. Third stage is I'm great and you're not. Stage 4 is we're great. Stage 5 is life is great. So stage 3 is where a lot of people fit. And so the picture over on the right that says be a leader and not a boss is something that goes along with stage 3. So a boss is someone who says I'm great and you're not, and a leader is someone who says we're great or life is great. Um, a boss knows everything. A leader admits their mistakes. So this also goes back to the extreme ownership concept of admitting your mistakes and taking responsibility for your mistakes. So this is something that a great leader knows. A boss talks fast and gives orders, and a leader gives direction and gives advice. And a boss who is in stage 3 says I. A leader who's in either stage 4 or stage 5 says we. And so knowing the 5 tribal stages and knowing where you fit into that and knowing where other people fit into that can help you be a great leader because you can help them move to the next stage. And something about tribal leadership is that people can only move one stage up or one stage back. It's hard to move. You can't really move 2 stages up. And this is also something that a great leader knows and takes into account when they are trying to help the people that they are leading move from a stage to the next stage. And tribal leadership is something that everyone should look at, and great leaders should strive to be in stage 5 and lead the people they're leading in a great way, and work with them rather than boss them, such as the picture in the bottom left corner. And some leadership roles to take into account are parents, teachers, coaches, bosses. Those are some typical leadership roles. However, anyone can be a leader, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a leadership role that you're in your job for you to be a leader. You can be a leader to anyone. So in the right column, I have some people who can be leaders who are not in typical leadership roles, such as the left column. So athletic trainers are definitely people who are leaders. I think that student athletes really look up to their athletic trainers. From what I've seen in the athletic training setting, student athletes really, really like their athletic trainers because they're there to protect them and to help them get better. And so being an athletic trainer is actually a very easy way to help lead someone and to help guide them and give them advice. And siblings can be leaders over their siblings. Coworkers can be leaders. Friends can be leaders. And so the bottom left picture says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. So this just means that you don't necessarily have to be in a quote unquote leadership position to be a leader. Anyone can be a leader, and we should all strive to be leaders and to be great leaders. And going back to the previous slide about tribal leadership, we should all strive to be leaders in the fifth tribal stage of life is great. And if we all strive to do this and lead the people around us, um, we can change the world. And that is the end of my PowerPoint. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something about being a great leader, and I hope that you have a great day and apply some of these tips about being a great leader.